Well, YouTubers, welcome back. Part 2, Dozing for Dummies. Okay, we're going to go back onto our clutch steering system. So, when we got this in, we wanted to go through the whole thing. Didn't matter what Buddy said. Everything's suspect. And if you're going to put these old girls out to use, you want to get them up and check everything. Remember, all a diesel wants is clean oil, clean fuel, clean air, and a decent operator that cares. You got that and these babies will go forever. So, this is what happened. He said this was a 69. Now the 69s were right in between the crossover years when the brainiacs over at John Deere decided to go from a dry clutch system in the 66s, which is what this is, to a wet clutch system, which came in the B series and C series. Now, remember, this is a 66. The engineers were designing a dry clutch system that were taken off the 420. Okay? Now, you've got a dry clutch system, but you decide to put in a filler neck. Both sides for your clutches. So, there's your filler neck right there. So, Buddy was a little hot to get the cat up and running, wanted to get out there right away like everybody else, right? Just jump on it and go. So, we did our due diligence. All right, it could be dry clutch, it could be a wet clutch. Right? So, we're out in farm country here. So we call John Deere green. Well, the first thing you're going to learn is that John Deere Green Agricultural knows nothing about John Deere Yellow Industrial. The left hand has no clue what the right hand is doing. Whatever. Fuck. So we call up the John Deere Industrial, the boys at Brandt. All right, and what do you get? You get what you're getting all over the world today. These brain-dead millennials. Guy, can you look it up and tell us what we got here? Here's the serial number, right? Is it dry clutch, wet clutch? We're told it's a 69. Here's the serial number.
Oh, well, geez. Oh, man, that thing's so old, I'd have to look up a microfiche.
Yeah. And you're a parts man, right? That's what you do, right? So instead of sitting there picking your nose without poking your eye, right, you're actually going to have to do something to earn your pay. You're going to have to look up a book and tell your customer what he's dealing with.
Well, as far as I can see, without actually doing anything, I think it's a dry clutch system.
Well, I don't like to think, I like to know. Okay, so back to the machine. All right, you can't get nothing out of the idiot kids these days. So we're going to go and look at the obviousness. Let's check it out. Let's look down the fill hole and see if we can see any fluid. And you look down there, I hope we can get this in the sunlight. And what does John Deere engineer? A bulbed casting. You can't put a dipstick down there. You can't see down there. So you don't know if it's dry, wet, half full, quarter full. Your guess is as good as mine. If somebody wasn't measuring out the fluid as they were putting in, you got basically no way to know. John Deere. Right? The god of the corn binders. I'll tell you, Case has got a lot on these things, but it's okay. We're going to case out this John Deere. Make her what we need. So, anyway, back to our faux pas. Okay, so we don't know if it's a dry clutch or a wet clutch. Buddy told us it's a 69. Turns out, of course, it's a 66. Right? So, let's throw some hydraulic fluid in there. Now, again, when I went to test drive this thing for the guy, this steering was tight. It was beautiful. I said, buddy, you got, for what's wrong, it's wrong. It's fixable. Not a big deal. The rest of the machine, the base of the machine is in good shape. Motor's running strong. Steering clutches are good. Everything else seems like it's a good machine. So he got it for about $6,000. And it was a good deal. These things are getting very hard to find. And the guys that got them don't want to part with them. They're just an awesome little machine. Everything perfect for 5 acres and under. If you're not in an industrial fill site, these are great. They'll do everything you need. So, with the push on, all right, flip the coin, dry clutch, wet clutch. Let's go with the wet. So we fill her up, and here we go. Put in 2.5 gallons in each case, and jump on it. Go 20 feet forward, and we got nothing. It's a dry clutch. We're boned. So now we look into what damage has been done. Well, now we start going in, checking into the discs. The original were fiber. The new replacement ones are all bimetal. Okay, well, doesn't mean we're hooped, not yet. Now, every one of these JD mechanics that wants to rape your pocketbook will tell you, oh, it's metal or fiber, don't matter, man. Oh, we've got to strip it all down and we've got to look it up. Well, any decent mechanic will tell you that fluid on fiber is not the end of the world. Hopefully not. So, what we're doing here is we're going to try a flush. Instead of ripping this all apart, breaking the tracks, we'll do the tracks, but let's see what we can do first. We want to get this thing up and rolling again. Move it around. We've drained the oil back out of it. So as soon as I hit the clutch twice, hit the steering brakes twice, and no turn, stop. Okay, you know immediately. Don't press and grind the fluid into the discs any more than possible. If they are fiber, more pressure, more saturation. So we jacked it up, stopped it right away, jacked it up, drained it out. Now, if it is fiber, we've let this thing sit for about a month now. Other things come up and are happening. This thing turned into a secondary priority. So what we're going to do is we've drained the fluid, and now what we're going to do is we're going to do a 2-part rinse. Now, anybody knows that when you do a brake job, if you get some oil on your shoes or your pads, it's not the end of the world. It's called brake clean. And I've done semi-brakes that have lost their seal on the oil hub, saturated the brake shoes, and take them out, and I'll usually soak them in some gas for about an hour, and hang them out to dry. Throw some clean gas in, 2 washes and a rinse, and I put them back on, and they're good to go. And I do it on mine. I do it on our service trucks. If somebody else comes in, they're just going to get the new shoes. We're not going to take the liability on that. But if we're using something, the truck's on site for a site truck, they're fine. Never had a problem. So what we're going to do in this time, we're going to use, instead of the old premium gas, We've picked up 5 gallons of the new flex fuel, 55% ethanol, alcohol. And we're going to use that instead, first time, and we're going to see what that does. Figure a little more alcohol. It's going to have the benzene and the toluene in there. That'll break down the solvents and the grease. And we're going to try that out, and then we're going to see how that responds. Usually if I do this, I'll do the gas, and then I'll either do the brake clean or the acetone. And we've got 5 gallons of acetone, so we're going to do the flex fuel first, and then we're going to do and if that doesn't work and get a decent response back, we're going to put the acetone in there. And I'm pretty sure. Now, one of the considerations is because this was a 66, okay, the chances of these clutch discs being the original fibers are slim to none. Not with the hours it's got on here. So at some time, somebody's done these steering clutches. Now, if it's within the last 25 years, you're going to do the upgrade to the bimetal. You know, there's a chance, sure, you know, maybe they didn't have them because they're the most popular. They go out first. Maybe they were short. And, you know, the guy just opted for what he had and threw an extra set of fibers in there. They always work fine, right? So if it's a bimetal, we should get these back, no problem, right? If they're fiber, a little bit more of a risk. Now, because we're going to take the tracks off anyway, and I've not seen anybody else try this. Everybody just says it's a doomed situation, right? Oh, go spend $1,000 on your clutch discs. We're just going to see if we can MacGyver this back in. So we're going to fill this up, and we're going to rotate these. Now we've got this jacked up off the ground, nice and safe, especially with the grousers well blocked up. And don't put them on cheap car stands, people. Really. Okay, so we've got our grousers. We got daylight under our tracks, so we're not going to trench out the gravel. And underneath here, right down there. Okay, there's our drain ports, both sides. What we're going to do, fill them up, and we're just going to rinse them, rotate and rinse, and just let it circulate. We're not going to put any pressure on the steering clutches, not for the first 2 washes. Once we rinse the flex fuel out for the second time, I'll try it on the first time, just lightly, see if we get some track rotation and some braking action, and then we'll do it twice. And if we don't have to do the acetone, we won't, but we'll see what we can do. So, I'm a mechanic, guys. I'm a mechanic and body man, and I guess I have to become a film editor. I guess I have to get an app and updo my things, but we're going to go through this whole machine, boys. And girls. Hopefully there's some girls out there. There's nothing wrong with girl mechanics. Some days I dream of a decent girl mechanic, but so far it's just pinup girls. Okay, we're gonna do this. I gotta stop the camera. Right, the other guys are working on their shit. I ain't gonna bother them. So we're gonna put it in, rotate, and flush. And we'll be together to see what kind of action. See if these expert cat mechanics are right. They could be. You know, you never know till you try. So we're going to see if we can find a shortcut. Okay, the next video will be thumbs up or thumbs down on our little wash job. Okay, dozing for dummies, right? We're gonna build a smarter world. Okay. See you later.